Hi there, this is John from Commercial Real Estate Online. Welcome to the program. This is the podcast show for commercial real estate agents and brokers around the world. In this program, you will always get plenty of tips, tools and ideas in commercial real estate brokerage, sales, leasing or property management, office, industrial or retail. And so in today's program, we've got another very special topic for you. And of course, you should grab your coffee, grab your notebook and come back and listen to the program even a couple of times, because there will be ideas here that you can use every day in your real estate business. And by the way, the website for us is commercial-realestate-training.com. And now on with today's program, and I'll catch you at the other end. And so for today's program, I want to go down into one particular topic, and that is all about the methods of sale that you can use today. Now you might say you understand how to sell property, sure. But there is an idea here that you should explore about the best methods of sale for the property, the client and the market. So that's the program. Enjoy the ideas and understand how you can improve your real estate game accordingly. I'll catch you at the other end. So techniques for selling commercial property today. What does that mean? It means that you're making some choices when it comes to selling a particular property in a certain location, and you're doing so in a certain way. Now, there are reasons why you should spend more time in doing that, because the issue is that some properties will always sell better when you use a particular method of sale. Now, it's not just a matter of listing a property and then going out there and finding a buyer. It'd be nice if it was that easy, but it's not really. Some properties are more susceptible to inquiry when they are positioned in a particular way through marketing campaigns and also through particular levels of selling. So when it comes to that sale of a commercial property, it is fundamentally important to ensure that the correct method of sale is selected. This is where the professional real estate agent, and that's you, will advise the owner of the property of what to do, how to do it, and give recommendations. And then on top of that, give examples of the alternative methods of sale and the best way forward. So that's what this program is all about, and we'll now go into that in more detail. So not all methods of sale work well at the same time, in the same market, on the same property. The best method of sale for the property promotion should be the one that attracts the buyers to the property and encourages them to act or inquire, to inspect, those sorts of things. So if the wrong method of sale is chosen, the buyers will find the sale process frustrating and will be inclined to sit back and wait to see how the property promotion evolves. In other words, they will not be motivated, and the levels of inquiry for that particular listing will be slower for you, and that's not what you want. So time is of the essence when it comes to implementing a property marketing campaign. Time. Everything is based around time, and then of course the best methods of sale with that property, with that client in that location. If you cannot capture and encourage the inquiry within the first 4 to 6 weeks of the marketing campaign, it is likely that the property inquiry will slow and diminish. In other words, the listing will become slow. And that is why the marketing money spent should be done so in the right way across the campaign in a staged and planned process. So everything is strategic, and that is the message. Everything is strategic to get the best results for you, the agent, with inquiry, with inspections, and of course with any offers that could come your way. But initially, you have to encourage people to lift the telephone, make the conversation, create the call, and approach you. So that is the logic of the whole thing. So the techniques of selling commercial real estate, industrial or retail. are the methods of sale that will bring about the best results. And as the real estate agent locally, you do have to make some choices around that. So here are 4 main methods to consider. And of course, you may have another method which might be more suitable for your location, but I'll give you 4 to get started. Number 1. Selling a property at a price tends to be the preferred methods of sale for many vendors. It is, however, not the best method of sale. Of course, in that situation, the vendor can set their price at the beginning of the campaign with some margin for movement in negotiation. That is why they like the process. This therefore removes the threat of the unknown when it comes to price establishment for the vendor. Unfortunately, a property that is taken to the market by this method will usually take time to sell, as there will be no urgency in the sale process. The buyers can take time and look at a number of properties before they will make any offer on the subject property. And of course, when they make that offer, it's likely to be subject to a number of particular situations or conditions. So the vendor of the property really doesn't have much control. The buyer of the property has all of the control. And of course, overpriced properties may not even get an offer from the marketing or the advertising. Most buyers will know when the property is overpriced. And that's what you have to avoid. Overpriced property situations. So let's go on to number 2. Selling a property by auction is more desirable when it comes to momentum and encouraging buyers to act. It should also be said that not all properties auction very well at all, but many do. So you have to make the choice there to understand if the property is indeed an auction property. The best properties to take to auction are those that are attractive and in demand. An unusual property with limited buyer interest should not be taken to auction because you'll only have a few buyers anyway. Why would you take that property to auction? So you have to make some choices there, understand what you're doing and how the auction process works. As part of the auction campaign, it is wise to structure a vendor-paid marketing package, of course, that comprehensively promotes the property into the target audience. And indeed, what is the target audience? You have some decisions to make in that regard, to understand what the target audience will be and how you will work with that. Normally, this would be a vendor-paid marketing commitment of about 1% perhaps of the expected sale price. And that percentage will change based on the expected sale price and, of course, the marketing spend. And in saying that you are going to do some vendor-paid advertising, it is wise to consider the alternatives when it comes to the types of campaign, the spread of the marketing, the timing of the marketing. Most marketing campaigns take about 3 to 4 weeks for an auction. So you have to spread the campaign across the media choices, the ones that work, the ones that attract the target audience. And I go back to the point that attracting the target audience is quite critical. So let's go on into item number 3. Selling a commercial property by tender is quite common. You might call it something else in your location, I'm not sure. But selling by tender is a timed method of sale. Like the auction process, the tender method allows for a time-based method of sale. In other words, the buyers have to commit to that property to put in their offer, if you like, by a particular date, and that is good. The advantage of the tender method is then that the tenderers do not know who else is participating in the tender process and what the other bids may be. And of course they have to participate anyway because they could miss out on the property. From a seller's perspective, the tender process allows them to have a significant control, that is the seller, through the timed-based method of sale. Ultimately, the seller does not have to accept any tendered prices or the terms of the tenderer. That's okay, because the sellers are actually in control. Normally, it is the case that the seller will set the terms of conditions for the tender process before everything is started. Any tenderer that steps outside those conditions will be classed as a non-compliant tenderer. and that would not normally be considered in the final assessment of tenders. So as you can see, in this method of sale, the owner of the property, the seller, has a lot of control, and that is good. That's why the tender process works very well, just like that of the auction. Now, there is another method of sale here that is used in different locations. It's called expressions of interest. Selling by an expression of interest is a process that applies to unusual commercial, industrial, or retail properties. They may be the properties that have maybe an unusual buyer interest or have an unusual buyer target market from outside the normal location and the area. That may be because they are unusual by way of price, improvements, location, target audience, or property usage. Now, the expressions of interest also works for a close-off date, and that is good. Expressions of interest are usually sourced and advertised over a fixed period of time and a marketing campaign. At the end of the time frame, the expressions that have been lodged with the vendor, the seller, through yourself as the agent, will be separately assessed and could be quite variable when it comes to the terms and conditions that will be acceptable to the vendor. So you should be able to say here that the expressions of interest is good, but not as good as a tender, previously mentioned, and an auction, previously mentioned. Under the expressions of interest process, the vendor has greater flexibility to negotiate with a number of parties until such time as satisfactory terms and conditions of a contract can be finalised. So understand the difference there between expressions of interest and then auction and then tender. They are all good, but auction and tender are both better. So I've mentioned 4 different things there for you, and one method of sale that is not mentioned is a sale at no set price. In other words, totally by negotiation. It is a sale process where the price is negotiated between the parties. It is a useful process if the vendor really does not know how much they want for the property and would like to see where the price starts and ends. In other words, control things. It's also a common method of sale where the property is sold off market and confidentially, and that happens a lot in this market. The agent can, in that situation, bring together the 2 parties and take them through the price, negotiation and completion process. So you've got a few choices to make there to understand in your location. Choices. That is, the methods of sale that actually work in your location with that property and with that client. When you think about it, the property market is always changing, and that's okay. That's a good thing because you can work with change. And right now, in the property market around the world, it is indeed a sales market. And top agents are focusing on one thing, that is getting listings. For sale, of course. And as part of that, if you're one of those agents, you need to think about the best methods of sale to attract the inquiry, to control the campaign, make your choices between open and exclusive agency. Of course, exclusive is better. So you have a lot of good choices to make there when it comes to commercial real estate in your location. So think about it and make sure you get your techniques for selling suitably structured and strategically so you can improve your listing processes and results over time. And so that is the program for today. It was providing you with some ideas about choosing the best methods of sale to get results for the client and their property. And of course, that means good results for you. So think about the program, the ideas behind that. Think about how you can be strategically different with your recommendations in the sale process to get better results in a more timely way. That's the idea. That's the process. That's how you win the game. And so that is the program for today. Plenty of things there for you to think about. That's what real estate is all about. Thinking, planning, and doing. Every day you can improve the things that you did yesterday. and consistently so over time will give you the leverage points that you want as a broker to grow your market share and of course attract listings and clients. So in closing, don't forget to visit our website, which is commercial-realestate-training.com. I'll see you there with many other tips, tools and ideas in commercial real estate brokerage around the world. Thanks for listening today. Subscribe while you're here and I'll catch you at the website. Catch you soon.